Welcome back to another episode of The Rundown. We know you've been waiting for it, and we're bringing it to you right here on this beautiful Friday. Myself, Joe, Brandon on the Zoom call as well. And we got a great episode because we're doing something that we don't normally do. We got another interview coming at you, and we cannot wait to bring it for you. So, Brandon, who do we got on the show today?
Oh man, we got a great guest, one that I've personally known for quite some time as a former Coyote alumni. Coach Roger Steig for Reed City Softball is joining us today. So glad to have him on the program, especially for their team's really standout season. I mean, already with 25 wins in the books, looking ahead to the finishing the part of the regular season, going into the postseason. I mean, it's going to be a great interview. And I mean, this is a team, especially Joe. I mean, we've really kind of tracked all year long. It was Reed City, Big Rapids really at the top. Unfortunately, Big Rapids won the two games to get the outright CSA title. But Reed City has done an amazing job. I mean, manufacturing offense, you've looked at some really dynamic players, especially Peyton Enos, Morgan Hammond, Isabel Guy on the mound for them. They've done a fantastic job, and those are just three of the nine and even more that have really contributed to this team. But, I mean, it's so glad to have Coach Steig on the show, especially, and I know you mentioned it in the interview as a little teaser for really how the game has developed since he had started back in 2006.
Yeah, it's going to be filled with some good stuff. Great insight as well. And just kind of recapping the season. I mean, if you look back, I mean, I talked about it in the interview as well, but last year, this team was 18-21 below 500. This year, they got a chance to hit that 30-win threshold. And we'll hear Coach Ste talk about it a little bit more and how it's been to see this program develop and just kind of go through the ups and downs, which is some of the coolest stuff about it. But I think, hey, let's just get right into it.
Yes, but first, our great friends at Michigan ADAS Calibration Glass. We haven't mentioned them enough on the show.
That's why I
Big
keep you around. You keep me on your toes.
Absolutely, yes. So this whole show, the whole rundown is brought to you by Michigan ADAS Calibrations and Glass, mobile service for windshield replacements and vehicle calibrations. Michigan ADAS Calibrations and Glass. They work with any make or model. You can find out more. Visit michiganadas.com for more information. And we're so glad they're joining us here on the journey of the expansion of the rundown. I mean, Joe, we got some great stuff planned, and they seem like they're on the perfect time to jump on the train because we got some great stuff coming. But I
Yeah,
mean,
this
let's
summer, this summer's gonna be sick. I can tell you that
I
much right
mean,
now.
we've already got the upgrades in the software. We got a whole new intro, and there's some things in the works right now that we're working on, which is great. That will really bring a huge part of in-depth analysis for this high school sports area that me and Joe are so passionate about. And it's great, but I mean, it starts with a support, it starts with a community, and it really is a pleasure to have the interaction with Coach Steig and all the other coaches we've had on the show, and hopefully all the more that we continue to have later on following the success of this interview.
Faux show. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Now joining us on the rundown, head coach Roger Steig of the Reed City softball team. Coach, thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Coach Steig. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. We've talked about CSAA baseball and softball a lot this spring, and there's been a lot of eventful games that have happened in recent. I guess let's just start off with an easy one. Where do you see your team at right now? And especially over the last couple of games, you picked up some wins, both conference and non-conference play. And just talk about where your team's at right now this week.
Well, where we're at right now, we've concluded CSA games. So we wound up second in the CSA with an 18-2 record. Had a big doubleheader with Big Rapids, and we came out on the short end of two of them there. Basically, it wound up down to one play and that decided the last game there. Otherwise, we were right there.
For sure. And then especially one thing that we were looking at, me and Brandon kind of discussing before going to this, when was your first year that you started coaching? Because we were kind of going through the record books, but couldn't find an actual one. So I have two questions here. When was your first year, and how has the game kind of progressed as the time has gone on and as kind of a new generation of players has come through?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different in today's coaching world. But I first started in 2006, and we had an excellent program growing then, and some of the accomplishments of the girls, the records are trying to beat right now are from the team of that year. So it's been a challenge. COVID hit us really hard in Reed City. We had a year that we just couldn't work with the girls, and the year that hit, we were pretty much senior dominated. I felt like we were in line to make a strong run at the conference. And then we spent a year, we couldn't even put our hands on the girls, couldn't work with them, couldn't do anything with them. And this group of girls right now I have are really special to me because they're the first group that came back after the COVID. And it's just a great group of kids. We started the year out 4 years ago at 0-25 was our record, and you'd have never knew they lost a game. They were so upbeat. And now they're on the top side of that. Now we're taking it to people.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a lot of this group that has been through since the COVID year, and a lot of the young players that you've had over the last couple of years. You had 19 wins in 2022, as well as 18 in 2023. Now this year, you've already eclipsed that going into the postseason with 25 wins. I mean, just talk about the growth that each of these girls have had for your team and some of the big improvements that you've seen from them over these past couple of years.
It's a growth, and I'm really blessed to have the athletes that I have to work with. They in today's world, you can't work with these kids 3 months out of the year and expect to be competitive anymore. So it's a year-round process, and they have certainly given us their time. Last night, Isabel Guy, our pitcher, who has put a lot of time into it, her freshman year, she had no intentions of ever wanting to pitch a ball game. And we just said, you have to be our pitcher. You have to. So she's took it to heart. And last night she broke the single season record for wins in a season. She now has 20 wins this year. And we're certainly proud of her accomplishment. She's 1 win away from tying the all-time record for wins in the season. So it's starting to pay off for her.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if you look at last year's record, I believe it was 18-21. Now this year, you have a chance to put up 30 wins on the season, which is incredible. I mean, just talk a little bit about that, of just like the turnaround in just that 1 year that you've seen and kind of what's gone into that. I know you've alluded to just the talent on the team, but just anything else that's just been kind of the culmination of hard work that's led to this improvement of your record?
Well, I think every coach, and I know my staff, we have our process we want you to go through, and the biggest thing to our success is that the girls have bought into it. And it's a tight group. They've bought into the system, and our defense is just extremely tough. You gotta work to score a run against Reed City. And then our pitching's come around, and now our hitting is getting there. Things are just going well right now with the Reed City softball.
For sure.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the defense, Coach, and I looked up and I did some math here, and it looks like your team is only giving up about 3.5 runs per contest, and your offense is complementing it with about 11 runs. Now, that's a huge gap, and obviously you guys have been so dominant in conference play. But what is it really about that defense that you see as a coach with the way that the defense is aligned, and especially the athletes that you have around the diamond? What makes them so great defensively?
What we play our defense a little bit different than most teams, and if they're out playing travel ball, I can assure they play different than what we do at Reed City. But like I said, they've bought into the system, and we eliminate the possibility of mistakes. And we don't take the big chances on defense. So the girls are just, they've bought in, they execute, and we make very few mistakes. And if we do make mistakes, they've played enough ball now together. We've been together long enough. They have each other's back. One mistake's not going to rattle this team up to where in years past, you make a mistake, then it turns into 5 or 6, 7. That doesn't happen to us. We have one, we get by it and go on. Hopefully that's the only one we have all game.
Yeah, that team culture is really one of the main reasons for your success, and especially with the postseason come up. I believe you guys drew Everett for the first game. What are some things that you're looking forward to? I mean, you only got, I think, 4 games left of the regular season, but there's always room for improvement. What are some things that you're looking to kind of hash out before postseason play begins?
Yeah, that's great. We've picked up another game with Kalkaska Thursday, and we picked that up. When we reached out. We wanted as competitive a team as what we could get, and we chose the toughest one that would respond to our. And Kalkaska was the one, so we're gonna see them Thursday night. But Brandon, you did your work on us. I did some work on Everett. We're allowing 3 runs a game. They're allowing 1. we're averaging 11 runs a game. They're averaging 10. So we're a little bit up on it. So either one of those teams, it's unfortunate that we meet the first round of districts because both teams are probably certainly capable of getting all the way out to the state finals. So it's a really good team's going to go home the first round.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate. And that kind of leads into one of the questions I have for you as a coach. Knowing that you have such a tough first round matchup, especially with a team, like you mentioned in recent memory, that made it to Michigan State's field and played in that state championship game. What's really your message to the team going into this matchup, especially with these last two regular season games? I mean, what's really the motivator that has been the constant message in practice looking ahead at that matchup?
Well, I think that we're not going to be intimidated by ever going in. I think our girls are going in with the right frame of mind. The message, we know our game, that we know they have a really strong pitcher on the mound, and that's their secret to their success. As well do we. And what we have to do is we have to find a way to get to the pitcher. We got to get the ball in play. So the last couple of weeks, we've done some things with our hitting that we haven't done in the past. We're shortening up, and it's all about contact. We want to get the ball in play. We've got she averages 10, 11, 12 strikeouts a game. We can't let that happen with us. So that's going to be our approach to game, is getting the ball in play, eliminate mistakes that we've done all year, and just play our game.
Yeah, for sure. That game is going to be one that me and Brandon keep our eyes out, because that one's going to be quite certainly a battle for sure. But you mentioned before, starting in 2006, do you have, a favorite memory that stuck out from your coaching career over all these years, or have just too many to count?
No, there's not too many to count, but one of I tell anybody when they're talking to me about this group of kids that we're coaching right now, is my fondest memory of them is that freshman year, how they were able to come to practice every day, go to the game. We had the horrible start, 0-25. If you talk to those girls or interacted with them, you would never have known that they lost a game. And to me, it's not always these big seasons where you win all the games. That was a pretty special season to me, that they all stuck with it. They bit into the process. They put the time and energy in, and now they're reaping the benefits of it.
For sure. And coach, especially you mentioned a little bit a while ago, the differences that you see in coaching the game of softball. A lot of coaches do a lot of different things, and they have a lot of different styles, more aggressive, more conservative as far as manufacturing runs, letting the big potential keep building for a breakout inning. Where do you kind of see yourself as a coach on that scale, being aggressive as opposed to conservative, and especially in those moments where you might be in a tighter game and have to kind of fluctuate just depending on the toughness of the opponent?
Offensively, we have to be aggressive, but at the same time we're aggressive. Runs are going to be key in that game, because both teams are capable of holding the other team down to very few runs. So I think the small game for both teams will be who can execute that the best will wind up being the winner of that game.
And for the CSAA this year, obviously just doing real well, kind of, I won't say steamrolling, but you put up a lot of points against a lot of teams in the CSAA. I mean, just talk about, with you also scheduling Kalkaska near the end, just talk about how important those out-of-conference games were, and just the approach to those, because that's where you get to really see some strong talent that gets you ready for the postseason. Just talk about what went into the scheduling of those out-of-conference games.
Well, our athletic director and I are on the same page there. When our out of conference, we looked for a strong competition is what we get to get us ready for the postseason here. We weren't looking for wins; we were looking for competition, and that's how we approached the scheduling this year.
Absolutely. Coach Steig, thank you so much for joining us. We'll leave you with one last question. When it comes to this team this year, and obviously you've mentioned the potential going really far in the postseason, we certainly hope and wish you the best of luck down that road. What is the biggest thing as far as a team, like dynamic culture wise, like even a motto, like when you ask and you're asked from the community what this Reed City softball team this year is all about, what is your response to it?
this team is a team that they are the true definition of family. They are so close, probably closer than any team I've ever coached. A lot of fun. Another little legacy we got going. We went to our success this year. I always go back to this. We went to Florida this spring and trained. And when we went to Florida, we scrimmaged three teams that are ranked down there in Florida. I think that helped a lot, getting us off to a good start. And in a little legacy we got going here, I've taken 4 teams to Florida training over my coaching career here at Reed City. 3 of those 4, we're the 4th one, but all have come out and won districts that same year, and 2 of them reached the quarterfinals. So that's being preached a lot in our dugout, and the girls are playing with that kind of excitement, and we believe it always takes a little luck to go along with it.
For sure.
Well, Coach, thank you so much. We wish you the best of luck with the rest of the regular season and with Everett in round 1. You got us in your corner, and that's for sure. So good luck with the rest of the season. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Once again, thanks to Coach Steig for coming on the show. We always appreciate getting the interaction with coaches and the community that make the high school sports scene so cool to follow around these parts. But thanks to Coach Steig. Brandon, I think that's it for the episode.
Yes, great episode, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to Country 100.9 on YouTube so that you don't miss out on any of these shows. They'll also be on Big Rapids Daily News on Instagram, Facebook, and X, so you can find out any sort of episode drop information. You know exactly where to go. Big thanks as well to Michigan ADAS for helping sponsor this show, and big thanks to you for watching, and we appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah, so let's just get out of here, huh? Have a good weekend. Stay safe this Memorial Day. Appreciate you and love you guys. So we'll see you next time.
Peace.